Welcome to a podcast unlike any other. Presented by the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame. In support of our local music scene. It's the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. Tonight's guests, Derek Euston. And Mountain Road. This episode is sponsored by URL Insurance Group. And now, your hosts, Daniel Keim and Alan McCutcheon.
Hi, I'm your host, Daniel.
I'm Alan.
And this week's guest, we have Derek Euston from the Green Room Recording Studio. He is the owner of it and also is a member of the Board of Directors for the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame and Music Awards. Derek, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here among friends and just talking about the Hall of Fame and the scene.
Yeah.
Dude, the local scene here, man. I mean, so how long have you owned the Green Room now?
I started engineering there in the fall of 2003, so this will be about 20 years, and then I became the owner in summer of 2005.
Oh, okay.
So you've seen quite a bit of talent come through your doors there at the Green Room.
Yeah, and then there's the people that the studio existed, I think 13 or 14 years prior to that, and then also it was like a studio since like the late 80s. So there's a lot of history. There's a lot of people that have been in and out of there before, when I was a kid, at that age, and then I came along and took it over, and it's fun to hear stories of different projects that were done there over the years that predated my existence in the music.
So what would you say is like the most prestigious, if you could recall, like the craziest like group or like artist that's come through the Green Room?
Early on, I'm a product of the 90s music, grunge. Yep. I kind of exude that, I try to.
No.
You guys got flannel on too. We all kind of do.
I don't know. The knit beanie didn't give it away. Or anything,
definitely not.
But I got to work with Travis Meeks from Days of the New. I don't know if you remember that band.
Yeah.
And that was pretty surreal because he was just coming off of a stint on A&E's Intervention, and he was doing some demos at the studio for like a couple days, and it was awesome. It was a good experience. It was really interesting, but it was really crazy too because I've never dealt with somebody of that kind of stature, but also in that
caliber
level of substance stuff. So it was just like that when we talked about like going home and being exhausted and like not talking to anybody for like a couple days. That was it. I was like, I was like exhausted.
Well, when you're working with somebody of like that caliber, it's like, okay, I got to be on my A game. I don't want to look like an idiot in front of this guy.
Like the entire time, yeah.
Yeah. And I felt like there could be like a meltdown, a breakdown at any moment. It just felt fragile, and that was hard. So
I'm sure it was.
I'm sure there was moments where you're like, all right, man, like that take was great. It was the best. And he's like, it was terrible. We're going again. And you're like, awesome, perfect, okay. And we're resetting. And then you're like, hey, man, I think we should retake that. I don't think that one was your best. And he's like, what are you talking about? That was perfection.
I'm like, am I going to be responsible for this guy relapsing? Just by like. So anyway,
a lot of pressure.
But there's been a lot of really cool musicians. Central PA has such a cool melting pot of influences.
Sure.
You get, singer-songwriter, Americana, country, a lot of gospel, a lot of hip-hop. It's just like a weird identity crisis of music, which is cool. That's what it should be,
Yeah,
no, that's great. And that's, I think what we all love about the Central Pennsylvania music scene is that, like you said, it is a melting pot. We have something special here. You started out at the Green Room as a sound engineer, right?
Correct.
So how did you get into that in the first place? I know you went to Lebanon Valley College, right?
I did, and I went to the music engineering school. I don't know what they call it these days, but and I went through the 4-year program. Loved the music program, everything, and then the engineering to me was just like very intimidating it was a lot of more than I had expected. Everybody thinks you're just going to go in and make records and it's all going to be fun and it's going to look like an MTV video. And there's like kind of like it's not that way, you know.
Yeah,
as you understand.
Not that fun right off the bat.
So I did an internship and I was like, man, like I just don't know if it's for me. And then I just to kind of validate my degree, I called around to a bunch of studios, and the Green Room was the first place that gave me an opportunity, and I took it, and here I am. And literally, that's the story. It's crazy.
And now you love it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. Yeah, I do.
He's like, yeah.
It's interesting because like I have a huge amount of respect for anybody that takes music and turns it into facilitates the business side of it, because that's the not so fun part.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about it. I mean, there's music business courses you can take and everything, but it really is like not fun to run a business in music, because you would just want to have fun, and then you're like, oh my god, I got to do taxes, and like, you know, like I just had an issue with my insurance company, and it's just not as fun as glamorous as you think it would be, but it still is like better than. I don't even know what the alternative would be.
Well, yeah.
I'm just gonna let you know, it doesn't matter what career field I'm in, I'm always gonna be like, taxes.
Yeah.
Like, I hate paying those taxes. The man's coming for me again.
If you have to be somewhere for any reason, it's a job, right? Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, everything eventually becomes a job or a task or something. It's like, even if you're sitting on a beach, you're like, well, like, this is kind of like inconvenient at some point. You know?
The mountains would be pretty cool right now.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. Well, I mean, it's the thing. It's like it is your passion, but it's like now your passion's work, and it's like, where do you find that line? Where do you draw that line? Even, you know.
I think just like good people and people who want to. The most important thing for me is people who want to improve and want to take a little bit of criticism, a little bit of like development. You know, I should say. I really hone in on those people, and there's other people that just want to come in and have me set up mics and record it, and they really don't want any input, and that's fine too. But we have to have those discussions and that understanding ahead of time.
Yeah, you got to set expectations, because you got to know what your role is there. Am I here literally just to record, or am I here to kind of like give you some guidance, give you some like barriers to like guide you in a better thing? You're exactly right.
And if you can say that it sucks, and you understand that it's not a personal dig, that it's just kind of like the vibe, that's how we talk in the studio sometimes and stuff, and it's not a personal dig, it's just like, that's, you know, there's more in the tank, we can get it out. A lot of times that's what it takes, is like somebody else saying, oh, we could do that a little bit better, because otherwise, like, even like as a musician, I'm a musician, everybody probably in the room is a musician and in some form, and you kind of want somebody else to pull a little bit more out of you. And that's kind of what I think engineers and producers are there for, is to constructively establish that. Absolutely. And like that when I look back, like I have so many like just good friends that I've worked with, and I think like you get to that level of trust and friendship because you're in such a vulnerable state, you know. There's a lot of nerves, there's a lot of anxiety. Let's like break that down. Let's like work through it, and like let's just make the music recording process almost secondary to just like hanging out. You know? Like, let's forget that the mics are rolling. Let's just like record some music. Is that a dumb idea? Maybe. Who knows? Let's try it.
Send it.
Yeah.
We'll see how it sounds.
That's how the art's made, though.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
it's true that you're being vulnerable. I've never really heard someone. I didn't even realize that's what it was until you just said it. It's like, that's exactly what it is when you're like, okay, like right here, like here's the mic, like, and we're recording. We're spending your money that you paid me now, and you're just like, and they're just like, perfect. Like, that's.
We might as well have couches like this where you guys just lay down and we just talk you through it. You know, just like a
little therapy couch.
All right, buddy. I know this is going to be a little difficult. It's going to be a little intimidating, but don't worry, man. You got this. I believe in you. Also, you paid me $500, so like,
it's cool.
This.
I already spent it. Actually, while we were getting tones, I just blew it on Amazon. You know?
It's very
Sweetwater.
Ooh, yeah, Sweetwater's the hookup.
Yep.
So you are also on the board of directors for the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame.
That's right.
How'd that happen? Well,
Brandon asked me. He floated this idea to me, and I I thought it was terrific because of the history of the green room and the ties that I'm still close with Bob Welsh, who was the previous owner. And I've been in contact with Michael Block, who is the owner of the Production Block, which is the name of the studio before the green room. And I just thought there was like a lot of history that Pennsylvania, Central PA has that hasn't been told. So I thought that would be an integral part that I could help connect some dots.
Yeah.
And so, when Brandon mentioned the whole idea, I thought like that's terrific. There's some talent in the area that hasn't been recognized for decades, and there's talent now currently that wants recognition. And I'm all about like the current stuff and everything, but I think the history really needs to be kind of laid out. Yeah, there's a lot of people that Harrisburg is not it's the capital. People think Philadelphia is the capital of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And like there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of cool things that happen in the area. And it inspires younger people. I mean, every time the last year, who was it? The Emperors got inducted, and like that was awesome when you heard the history and like who they impacted and everything. It's like I never would have known that.
Yeah. We got to meet the Pixies 3.
That was another one.
They opened, or I'm sorry, who was it? The Rolling Stones opened for them originally, and I'm just like,
I thought it was the other way around.
They were quick to correct us. They were
No
like,
way.
no. That's what everyone says. Like the Rolling Stones opened for us, and I was just like, I would have never known that. Like, and I got to meet them, and they were like the nicest, sweetest ladies. And they're just like,
God,
yeah. They're like, thanks so much for coming out to. It's like, you're welcome. My grandma would love this right now. Like,
I love this right now.
I love this right now.
Yeah.
They're so nice. But yeah, exactly what you said. Like the history that sometimes just doesn't get told. Like that's what they there. Everyone thought, they opened for the Rolling Stones, and they're like, absolutely not. Let me fix the record because we were there. You get to hear that kind of history that doesn't necessarily get told all the time.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's from Southern Georgia, and so when I was maybe in college or something, I visited my grandmother who lived down there, and she took me to the Georgia Music Hall of Fame, thinking like I would be interested in that. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, who's from Georgia? Blah blah blah, whatever. And it was in Macon, Georgia. It was a decent drive and everything. And we got there, and I was just like blown away by the history. And even like there's so many things that the groups and artists that I never heard of, but just the presentation of it was enough to like kind of inspire you and get you to rally around like a local. Or I guess it was the Georgia Music Hall of Fame, so it was the whole state, but it was in Macon, Georgia, and it just highlighted some cool things that may or may not have been pop culture hot topics or something, but regardless, it was the presentation of it all and just like how it made everything seem much more important and significant, and it was like inspiring. And you can see like there's kids that are just kind of grabbing onto that, thinking like, wow, like, these people aren't forgotten. They might have been a one-hit wonder, but that hit was huge or something like that, or
that's true. Like, oh man, like, there's so many things I want to say, but I'll be here for forever if I talk about all the things, because you just hit so many good things, like so many good talking points. Yeah. We'll have to have you on again, and we'll do a bigger segment with you, because I feel like we could just talk about like a bunch of stuff here. Like I could just talk all day with you.
It serves so much of the community that and then I think the people like kind of rallying the bands, the current kind of like active artists and stuff that are nominated and stuff are kind of like the lifeblood of it, keeping it moving, and their fans and friends and family and stuff all supporting it and voting for them and buying tickets to the events and stuff like that. It really is shaping a new network, really, like a business network.
I mean, it's bringing a lot of attention to it.
It's validating all of their hard work.
Yeah, really valid. I feel like for a while, I gotta be very careful how I word this. I feel like for a while, the music scene, not just in Central Pennsylvania, just in general, got kind of stagnant. Not really stagnant. That's what I'm saying. I'm not really sure what words to use here, so don't be too harsh on me. But
there's
people kind of started to just kind of take it for granted, I guess would be a better way of putting it. And then after COVID happened and there was no live music, people kind of really realized like, oh, wow, you never know what you got until it's gone. There's no live music for almost 2 years, and now people love going out to live music again. And it's like, this is something I haven't seen. Like, I haven't gone to shows and seen them as packed as they are now since, like, I don't know, the 2010 Metal Rush at the Champ, you know?
Yeah,
shows
dude.
are...
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I know exactly what you're
Speaking
talking
of
about.
dating yourself,
right?
Ooh, the Champ.
Champ.
Good
old
times.
Champ. I
good
feel like I
times.
probably saw you there. You look so familiar. I don't know.
I'm too old. I was probably like somebody's dad picking him up. I'm like too old for
Outta
this.
here. I mean, all I can always take away from the Champ was there was never toilet paper. There was never any toilet paper.
The lack of AC bothered me. I played there once. and I
It
was
didn't
just
matter.
like-
People were sweaty in there
Yeah,
regardless.
that was like, bro, this is the Champ, baby. I'm like, yeah, I hate this.
But they, like, if you build it, they'll come, and that's like
True.
the like you look at Central PA really does embrace a lot of the venues that it doesn't matter. Like, you know, you guys were apologetic about your bathroom not being updated and everything. I'm like, who the hell cares? This is a cool set, you know. It's like that's the way like the venues are too. Just people want that stuff, and like when you provide them. You know, we had Millennium Music Conference, which is a big thing for a while.
Mhm.
I don't think that's still going on. But whatever the case is, that those served a big, kind of like I think what the Music Hall of Fame is kind of taking over, is like that networking common ground for people where they can all kind of get excited about supporting each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not about winning. It's more about just like, let's just nurture and cultivate a scene. Because there's...
Yeah, I definitely think this gives like validation, especially to like some of the kids who are like, I'm going to start a band. I remember when I was like, I'm going to start a band. My parents were like, I mean, they always supported me. Don't get me wrong, but they were like, have fun, but like, you know, don't get your hopes too high. But it's like, you know, you got bands like Lyndhurst coming out here, just forming, and then they're getting like Song of the Year recognition. It's like my parents, when they found out about the CPMAs, then they were like, oh, like this is like a legitimate like red carpet thing, and they want to come this year. And like, I think that's like important. Like parents can like come and like. My kid was in a band for 6 months. Now they're being nominated for this, and like it's being done at this prestigious of an event. It's like it really gives credit to like the parents. Like, you know what? Keep doing your thing. It's like, it really brings back that validation. Like you can be an artist, you can be taken seriously as a musician, and I really dig that part.
Yeah, I think it takes everybody too. It's
Yeah.
just like a really cool. It wouldn't be what it is without the support of just like the general public.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good to have a nice, close-knit community that all supports each other, and is at the end of the day, we're all in it for the same cause because this is our passion, this is our art, and this is what we want to see prosper.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but I think that'd be a good note to end on, Derek. I feel like we could talk here for
We could.
hours, man.
I might grab
Maybe
another
we
drink.
should sometime, another
Yeah,
time.
I'll
We
come
should
back.
Definitely do this.
We'll come to the green room.
Yeah.
What's up with the Thai place down the street? Is that like legit?
Apparently, it's like the best.
I hear it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna get some of that. So
All right.
I love how you're.
Yeah,
this is like a double, a twofold purpose.
How about that Thai place though? Yeah,
Give me some of that
Smells
passion,
good.
you man. All right.
That's hilarious. Derek, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks
man.
for having me.
I would love to sit down and talk with you again.
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
Thank
thanks
you, guys.
again. See you soon. Hey guys, we are here with Mountain Road. I have Kevin and James, vocalist, guitar, and bass. Guys, we're excited to have you here at 400 Park. Looking forward to your performance. Tell us about you a little bit.
Well, we're, like you said,
Whoa.
members of Mountain Road. Too many of these, apparently. Members of Mountain Road. I front Mountain Road, play rhythm, and sing. James is our bassist. He also has backup vocals. Been original bass player from the very beginning. Been a band now. It was formed 15 years ago as a two-piece originally.
Okay.
And then within 2 years, we pulled in the full band. Finally found the right lineup that we ran with for quite a while before we made some lineup changes over the years.
Okay.
But yeah.
So you first, I know before you had said that you guys had released an EP, just kind of help get your name out there a little bit so that we could start building gigs and whatnot. What are some of the local venues you started out playing around here?
First regular venue where we really started, at least as a two-piece, we're at Mr. G's Sports Bar.
I love Mr. G's. Go Birds.
Go Birds. That's right. So we started down there, and we played there heavy for a while, and then we moved over to started incorporating like Malone's on Dairy Street, which is now the Poorhouse.
Okay.
Ace is up in Dolphin, which we love that bar. That's my hometown.
Okay.
It was just a watering hole biker bar. It burnt down. But we played up there all the time and then started branching out every venue in the area,
Yeah.
really. And then as the band grew and we grew our name, we set our sails, and hit wherever we could.
Yeah, so now you've played all over the country a little, over in different states,
here and
whatnot.
there.
Played Vegas, you played South Carolina, you played, just a number of different places. And actually, Brandon had told me you guys had won an award at an Indianapolis music competition or something to that effect.
Yeah, we won a competition for the show.
Okay.
In Indianapolis.
So what does that mean exactly? Can you elaborate a little bit?
It was basically a nationwide voting competition where we were selected and we put our songs out there and had to post some videos and stuff. And basically it was pretty much a fan-based competition, and people voted who they wanted to come out, and we won.
Wow.
So we got that. They flew us out there. It was a great time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
So how many people did you guys perform in front of out there, would you say?
It was like 1,000 people at least for that specific event.
Wow.
It was Kevin was a firefighter at the time, so it was firefighter specific. You had to have a firefighter in your band to be able to enter the competition. So that was kind of one stipulation. So he was a firefighter at the time, an active firefighter. So we got that. We got to hang out with a whole bunch of whackers out there.
Wow. That's awesome. So playing in front of a crowd of 1,000 people, that's a lot. Now, is that the biggest crowd you've ever played in front of? Or, Vegas, I'm sure you may have had more out there too, right?
Biggest was actually right here in Lancaster. We were lucky enough to play I-105 Fall Fest festival. We opened that up 3 years, actually, which only one other band's ever done that, just for the record. That was Diamond Rio, if you're familiar. But, we opened that. That's a 30,000, 40,000 person crowd. It's a huge festival. Biggest free festival on the East Coast, actually. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep, but it was great. They treat us like royalty. We picked up a lot of fans. That helped kind of kick us forward up another notch, too. It was great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess another good question would be, what kind of things do you see in the local music community here in central Pennsylvania that you don't see anywhere else? You've traveled around. You've been to the West Coast pretty much. Been to the Midwest. You've been down south. What's something you think that's Pennsylvania specific?
What I really think we've seen is that the vast amount of music that there is. You have everything from hip-hop rappers to thrash death metal to country guys, blues. You got it all. Everything. And you can see pretty much every type of music within like a 5-mile radius.
Okay.
I think that's something beautiful about Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we definitely have something special here. Well, I know you guys have to go and get sound checking here soon.
We do.
I do want to ask each one of you one question. I want both of your personal opinions on it.
Start with James.
All right, James. What advice would you give to any musician now, knowing your experience over the last 15 years being a musician? What experience would you give to a musician now just getting started out?
I just say put your heart in it. It's all about what you give, and you're going to get that back. If you want to just have a good time, put it in there. Just have a good time. Go out there, put your heart in, and you're going to have a good time.
That's great. That's spectacular. Good.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that too. And really, if it's what you want to do, push for it. Push. Never burn a bridge. You never want to burn a bridge. It doesn't matter how much of a dick that bar owner was to you. Don't be a dick back.
Yeah.
They say, okay, thanks, and walk away. Because you never know. Someday that guy might have another job where he needs a band.
That's really good advice. Actually, I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, really. Just be nice.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick. You'll be okay.
Yeah. That's great.
Yep. But no, the music scene is 10 times what it was in the Harrisburg, general central PA area. It's way better now than it was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
There's way more musicians too, basically because of the growth of the venues. People started putting in stages, taking down walls, adding giant patios. They realized, hey, musicians bring people.
Yeah.
And that's great. It's spread like wildfire through this area over the past 10, 15 years. The doors are there. You just got to open them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of what we're doing with this here with the podcast, trying to bring up, I guess you could say, a little bit more awareness of the special music scene we have here.
Yeah, there's a lot out there.
Yeah, and we want everybody here to really capitalize on that and grow that music industry more and help the musicians grow and put a name out there for Harrisburg. Let everybody know that this is where a lot of good music comes from, and you should come check it out. So
I'm with you.
Great. Well, hey, guys, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you. And get out there and rock it today. All right, guys?
Englewood.
Englewood.
Thanks a lot.